I'm your host, Marsha Florence with Just Ask. Today our show is RanDel Enterprises. Hurry back and join us. Hi, I'm your host, Marsha Florence. Today our show is RanDel Enterprises, and we have the CEO and founder himself, Randy Grace. Hi, Randy.
Hey, Marsha, how are you?
Glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Good. I should say glad to have you back. Now, we did have some phone calls from some people asking who was the wonderful motivational speaker that we had before. So we definitely want to update our viewers on you and what is RanDel Enterprises.
Well, first I'd like to thank all those wonderful people for calling, my mom included probably.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
Actually, RanDel Enterprises is my own professional speaking and training company. This is a company I started in 1997 as a result of my desire to become a professional motivational speaker. I work with other speakers, and we go out and we speak about issues related to not only disability, but helping people transition in life, whether it's overcoming adversities related to their socioeconomic conditions, or whether it's just related to persons wanting to improve their quality of life. So that's basically what we do. We offer speaking and training services to a number of different venues.
Okay. Now, a lot of people may not know you actually worked for a company for over 10 years or so, and was doing quite well. What motivated you to walk away from a paid job and come out here and...
The good job,
Okay,
right?
we'll say the good job. Yeah, the safe job.
Yeah, and that's funny because that's what people often ask. They say, oh, you had a good job, because I worked in the telecommunications industry. And interestingly enough, a good job is relative, because some people find that when you're making a big salary, when you are living the corporate high life with a corporate expense account and standing in front of corporate executives, that's a good job. But for me, what makes a good job is having a job where I can interact with people, touch people, and help people change their quality of life. And so that was really the motivation. I'm not really a numbers kind of a person. My life has been all about overcoming challenges and change and being a survivor, so to speak. And I've found that in my life, I've mastered some skills that have allowed me the opportunity to make some significant changes. And I didn't get an opportunity to do that sitting behind a desk, share that with other people. So I thought that working in my own company was going to be the best way to make that happen, get that message out to other people.
So within that time frame since then, 97, which is over 10 years or close to 10 years, that transition has proven well for you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, it's funny. I think about some of those days when I'm writing a speech or I'm working on a program or trying to book a deal, and owning a business is tough. A lot of people say that I want to be my own boss and I don't want to take orders. And incidentally, when you become your own speaker, your own business, I should say, every customer becomes your boss. So even though it's a lot more work, there are times when I said, man, oh man, wouldn't it be nice to be able to just go to work, do your job, and come home? But in my own business, you make the work, you deliver the work, you follow up. But it's a labor of love. I absolutely love what I do and couldn't see doing anything different. To go back to work for someone else in another company would really seem like going back in time to me.
Right, right. Well, that's a good way to look at it, because actually when you take that leap into faith, and I'll call it faith, is that you tell yourself, this is it. You know, either I got to make it or break it, one of the two. And did you give yourself a time frame, though, when you first came out?
Yes, until the lights went out.
Okay. Well, actually, the lights must still be on.
Well, we try to keep them on.
Okay. But that's a good one. Okay.
Truly, the idea was just to, and it was a leap of faith for me. And I often talk to people in my business about starting a business, and I always say to people, I don't recommend the way I did it was the best way, because I literally took all my toys and left. You know, it was just a matter of wanting to have my own business. I felt I had the vision, and within me, something said, now's the time. And so, with that being the case, I found that for me that worked, but for others I would often suggest that they spend a lot of time doing their planning, and if they set a timeline to say, hey, if my business doesn't take off in 5-10 years, I'll go back. But thank the good Lord, I haven't had to do that, so we're moving forward.
That's wonderful. What's the most powerful and compelling lesson that a person who's involved in your program can learn?
The most power. You know, I would venture to guess there's not a single lesson per se that a person could learn from me. I hope that through my presentations, people get a sense of empowerment. That's one of the premier messages that I want to make sure people get from me, the importance of being in charge of your own life. But throughout the lessons and the programs that I have that teach people to become independent, whether they are people with disabilities or not, it's important that people understand education is the key. That's what I want people to understand. And when I'm talking to young people, they go, oh, here you go with the education is the key speech. But my style of presenting offers them a realistic and a humorous way of getting that message, because it's true. We can't change that message. We can't stop saying it, because until people empower themselves through education, we're going to be destined to repeat that dark history. We've got to learn and improve our quality of life through education.
Now, what do you think? Mainly your audience is for diversity. Okay, so is your captive audience persons with disabilities or persons without, or is it a blended group?
It depends on who's calling on Randy, because I find myself most comfortable when I'm talking to people about things that I can relate to the most, because as a speaker, that's my job, to deliver my life's message to other people. And when I'm talking about disability, obviously I can relate to that very well. And when I'm talking to a group of young people that may be just at that crux of life, where they're thinking about, what am I going to do after high school? Who's going to hire me? Can I go to college? And I'm before them saying to them, yes, you can. And I'm not just giving you the speech. I'm telling you, you can do it because I've done it before. I feel very strong and powerful in that position. But I'm also very comfortable if I'm talking to some corporate executives or some government officials on how to work with people with disabilities. Because a lot of times that's a struggle for people who aren't familiar with our population to understand the issues that we face on a day-to-day basis. So I'm real comfortable in that arena as well.
Okay, okay. Well, I know one thing for sure. It's like, with the young people, they should recognize that, and I think the school board should take this in consideration. When you have youth getting ready to graduate, when they get in the senior year, there should be programs and organizations lined up so that you, the youth, can check it out. You know? So you want to meet motivational speakers like yourself, you want to meet the vocational rehabilitation counselors, you want to meet technical people. It should be lined up at the door. So that people, when young folks are getting ready to graduate, they have an idea that I don't have to stay home, or I may not be regular college material.
Sure, absolutely. And I'll do you one better. I'm working with a group in Shiawassee County through the Shiawassee Regional Educational School District, and we're actually working with middle school students with disabilities. Because the reality is, Marcia, when you get to the point of high school and you're a senior or even a junior, it's almost too late. I don't want to say it's too late, but you're really right at the door, and it's kind of late to really start talking about empowerment and independence at that point. We should start doing that when young people are already addressing issues, because just because they have disabilities doesn't mean they're not thinking of issues of dating, thinking of their changes that they're going through physically, etc. We need to fold in the issues of empowerment and self-esteem right along that phase while they're doing all those other things, and making sure they understand at that point you need to start thinking about your future. So I would venture to guess even before senior high school or while they're seniors in high school, we start talking about independent living for people with disabilities.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, we're going to take a commercial break, and we're going to come back with some more helpful and supportive information from our motivational speaker, Randy Grace. Be right back.
Hello there. Having a lasting effect on a kid's life can be quick and easy.
Here's some stuff we've learned.
From time to time, secret codes may be used. It's not uncommon for a kid to demonstrate special powers.
Costumes can be uncomfortable, but loads of fun. Moments like these happen every day.
Lend your support. Go to bigbrothersbigsisters.org.
That's all for now.
Okay. And welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Marcia Florence from Just As, and we have our motivational speaker, Mr. Randy Grace. Now, Randy, we left off with some very good information because, you know, like, I'm hoping that the viewers who see this will be timely enough for schools so that the students will have an idea, hey, Ma, Dad, you know, Do you think we need to talk to somebody before I graduate or whatever have you, junior high school level? But let me ask you this, when you're at the school board system and when they call you in, do you have an outline of what you should be saying to these young people? Because they come in a variety, so it may not always be, well, you know, it could be variety in disabilities. And then there's a mixture of students without disabilities. How do you interact with that type of audience?
Well, it's really important to me to know what my audience is looking for, first of all. And I think if I'm really going to be effective as a mentor, as a speaker, whatever my role is to understand who's sitting in the audience. If I'm dealing with a lot of students that may have physical disabilities, I come in and I'm ready to talk about adaptive equipment for a motor vehicle, or I'm ready to talk about my life as a person in a wheelchair. But if I'm talking to some students that primarily have learning disabilities, that's a real different population. And they're really interested in learning how they can take whatever differences they have that others may not know or understand and make that a part of who they are without it being so overwhelmingly a part of who they are. So it's a totally different approach. It truly depends on what the audience is, how a speaker addresses that particular group.
Okay. So are you preparing them from the disabled child to become the disabled adult with success? I mean, because, you know, young people don't never see the whole core of things until they become an adult. Well, anyone does. But the principle of it is people like yourself, myself, and many more should be foreseen so that, you know, the next generation of young folks will know that, hey, I could do whatever it is, or at least give it a try.
Absolutely. And truly, you know, I have a lot of fun in my business, but the reality is it's really not all about Randy. It's about being able to share with others my blessings and the gifts that I have, because one of the most important things for young people to see that makes a difference from them growing into just an adult to a successful adult with a disability is them being able to see someone that they can identify with. And a lot of times people see folks with disabilities in menial jobs or doing things just barely getting by. And I want to say to people, I have a tremendous quality of life. I travel the country, I have a lot of great friends, I live independently on my own, and I want people to see that. And I invite many other people with disabilities. Often they come with me when I'm speaking, so it's, again, not just about Randy. There are people with disabilities. Look at yourself, doing a wonderful job in communications and on television, and people need to see us. So that's what it's really all about, letting the young people know ahead of time who the role models are out there.
Well, you're making me blush. Okay. Well, let me ask you this. So if you have a parent out there struggling, trying to build their child's confidence or self-esteem, what advice would you give a parent that's trying to, you know, do something good for their child? I mean, you know, you try to build this child's self-esteem up, and he or she is like, leave me alone, Ma, whatever. What do you think?
That's a good question. I remember I wrote an article once called Building Glass Hope, because a lot of times parents say to kids, you can be whatever you want to be. You can do whatever you want to do. And the reality is sometimes people with disabilities can't do everything they want to do. And so I try to encourage parents to, number one, step back, take a deep breath, and again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, getting educated. Working with the school districts as a partner and not leaving up to the educational system the responsibility of creating this independent child that you want. You have to partner with the school districts and other community resources to bring information and knowledge to the young person so they could start to feel that disability is not all about who they are, but only a part of who they are. And then on top of that, the parent has to be strong enough and be willing enough to let that child make mistakes. So many times parents want to protect us, and my mom, I tell you, bless her heart, she would always want to make sure that I didn't make any falls and break any bones and all of that, but reality is mistakes are how we learn. You know, they're a part of the learning process. So don't be afraid to let the child make mistakes. Let the child be a child, but just be there to support them like you would any other child that you may be working with.
Now, speaking of disabilities, what is your disability?
I have osteogenesis imperfecta.
Okay.
And osteogenesis is a rare genetic bone disease that's primarily characterized by brittle bones. And I've had probably 52 or 53 broken bones in my life.
But still, even along with that, you wanted to be your own person.
Absolutely.
Right? You know, so you didn't play football, but you wanted to do things that were still challenging, and your mom was trying to regulate everything. Was that a lot to go through though as a kid?
You know, in my household, told growing up, it wasn't very difficult because my mother was gifted with the ability of letting Randy be Randy. My mother's an old country girl, not old mom. I didn't say old mom, so don't work that out on the video. Okay. But my mother is one of those women that just lets me be me, and I'm thankful for that because I would never change anything about who I am. People always ask me that question: if you could go back and live your life as a person without a disability, or if you could start today not having a disability, would you? Absolutely not. Disability has added so much character to my person, and it's helped me be so much more than I think the average bear, so to speak, because adversity is a part of my life every day. When I'm talking to young people, I tell them every day people stare at me, they laugh at me and point at me until they get to know me, and then they want to love me. And that's a beautiful thing because that's growth for them through understanding differences. So that's what it's all about.
Okay, okay. Well, you know, I don't want to just focus in on the young people so much, but I know that you've had plenty of dealings with the government and private sectors. Give us some ideas of what do you do with government issues or in private sectors?
Well, I remember once we led a team of call center employees for one of the big three automotive corporations, and we taught their employees how to be very sensitive to even callers that call in on the line and they may have disabilities that even a person over the phone could pick up and understand how to deal with that particular caller. I've gone into government agencies and helped the government understand not only about how to service people with disabilities, but work with their coworkers that may have disabilities. Because a lot of times people think the Americans with Disabilities Act and accommodations and standards, but most of the things that are important to me that people understand, in addition to that, is communication, understanding, interacting, and letting people be included in the workforce, whether it's government, private, nonprofit, it doesn't matter. But it's very important for those private industry personnel as well as our public officials to understand 54 million Americans with disabilities, we're not going anywhere. We're the largest minority group in the nation, and we're here to stay. So we need to be in the game as well.
Wow, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. And you know, and I know that when you see a lot of the government and private sector individuals, you got their undivided attention. You got to have it because, well, you got mine. You know, but it's a good thing because you know a lot of times they're not expecting you to tell them something different or unique, but your delivery of your message. Do you know the follow-up? Do you know any of the results? Do the companies change anything? Have they, you know, better equipped themselves with knowledge that you have given them?
Absolutely. We get letters all the time after we've done presentations, and companies write us and let us know. Sometimes they give us statistics, but they learn from me right off the bat. I'm really not a numbers guy, but they often share their statistics, but they always want to let me know how their climate has changed. People are a lot more friendly, or people are a lot more relaxed around people who are different. And it's funny because I went into one of the government offices that I spoke at. I went in as a citizen to receive services, and it was funny how people started coming from behind the counter to share with me their stories of how once I spoke there, things changed in their office. And I was really touched by that. It's not just an ego thing, but it just really makes you feel good to know when you leave here.
You can have an ego. It's okay.
Oh, thank you, because I got one of those.
Okay.
But just to know that you left something behind when you're gone is very gratifying. And I think that's really important for us all.
That is. You're such a warm person, you know, really.
Thank you.
You know, and my thing is, we work with people with disabilities, and yet there's people in our own agencies that have disabilities that never mention them until something actually happens, you know, and that's kind of sad if you are a agency and you have persons that are in your business that have disabilities, but yet you don't see them, the hidden disabilities more or less, okay? I mean, diabetes is considered a disability, epilepsy, things of that nature, and yet
depression.
Right. I think that our coworkers should be more than willing to let us know if I'm having a bad day or I might forgot my medicine, you know, or this and that. We had an incident where a coworker has epilepsy and we didn't know it, you know, and that's a bad thing because you're working with the public, and you should always have everybody in your core group aware of you in case of emergency. I don't know what the fear is, you know, unless it's because it's the insurance, but we should, I think it's time for the insurance companies to take another look at what they're doing to society, because a lot of people are fear of giving out information about themselves and their conditions due to the increase of insurance rate or the cancellation. Okay, so.
And one of the things I'm grateful for is my comfort level with my own differences. And that's important to me to say to people who are able-bodied individuals, because we don't say handicapped people versus folks without handicaps. Able-bodied individuals need to know that it's okay to be different. And everybody has something about them that makes them different. And we tend to want to mask that. And unfortunately, when we do that, we're closeting a part of who we are. And not that you need to wear a t-shirt that says, "Hi, my name is Randy, I've got OI." But the reality is, if it comes up in conversation, not to be ashamed of it. Or if there is an issue that you can foresee, being willing to disclose it appropriately so you can better prepare not only yourself, but your coworkers or the people that are around you that may need to support you if there is some sort of crisis that may come up. So it's all about raising awareness.
I think you said that very well, and we're going to go to another commercial break. And ladies and gentlemen, when we get back, we got to talk about the wonderful award that Randy Grace was given by the Heidi Van Arm Foundation. We'll be right back.
There's one. Come here, you!
Is it mice?
Nope.
Rats?
Nope.
Hogs?
That's right, miss.
Hogs?
Energy hogs. If you're wasting energy, you'll find one in your home.
Got energy hogs in your house? Now you have the power to do something about them. Log on to energyhog.org.
Hey, let me go. In your dreams, Porky.
Because nobody likes an energy hog.
Studies show babies who are breastfed are less likely to develop ear infections, respiratory illnesses, and diarrhea. Babies were born to be breastfed.
And welcome back to the show. For those of you who are just now joining us, we're in our third half of the segment with Randy Grace, the motivational speaker. And he represents not only persons with disabilities, ladies and gentlemen, but just the general public overall. So don't look at it like, well, he only talks about disability issues. No. Some diversity needs to be done in every workforce, you know what? So you want to contact a person like Randy, okay? Now, Randy, one thing about it, I mean, to have you back here again, we know that you've been a very busy person, but along the road to success, I see this beautiful award that you received from the Heidi Van Arm Foundation. So that's the Heidi Van Arm Award of Small Business Development Lifetime Achievement. Wow. That's awesome. So, I'm afraid to touch it. Okay, tell us about this award.
You know, this is actually an award presented by the State of Michigan Department of Labor and Economic Growth, and it has the Heidi Van Arnhem name. Heidi was a person with a disability who died from she was a gunshot victim and she was paralyzed, but she died from some other complications several years later at the age of 35. But Heidi was a tremendous champion for persons with disabilities and had her own business that really was supportive. And this particular award is given to individuals who have used their own circumstance and condition to help uplift and promote entrepreneurship for people with disabilities. And I'll tell you, it's something, when you get a Lifetime Achievement Award, it's kind of a mixed message because...
How old are you? That's right.
Right, that's the thing. One thing, people think that, wow, for you to have done so much where you get a Lifetime Achievement Award, that's great. But on the other hand, people say, okay, you got that award, what, life is over now, you can just roll over and die. You got your Lifetime Achievement done. But the reality is, it's really a great honor to be awarded with this foundation, with the state of Michigan giving me this and having the award from Heidi's Foundation on it as well.
Well, we have met Heidi Van Arm before and her family, and it's a wonderful family. And you know, her years of service within the disability community is well noted, and the website and everything that she has is still going. You know, business is still going. So the Heidi Van Arm family, you know, I know that that's a wonderful group of family members that are keeping her dream alive and providing resourceful information for the disabled community.
Absolutely.
So it's wonderful. It's a beautiful piece. And I know you had to be, you know, taken by it just by itself.
Absolutely. I mean, it is. It's a beautiful award, and just the symbolism of it is magnificent with the shape of with the picture of the world on it, because that's my vision. You know, that people with disabilities all over the world will feel empowered to live their dreams, whether it's through employment or entrepreneurship. But we just got to get out there and raise our quality of life, and we need that opportunity to break down attitudinal barriers. So as long as I can, awards are great and I appreciate the accolades, but as long as my voice can be heard and I can help uplift the message, that's what's most important to me.
Well, I tell you what, this award in itself lets you know that people in Michigan especially know that you're doing a wonderful job.
Sure.
And, you know, to have something represented from the state of Michigan is even more so wonderful, because that means that it's not a local thing.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Okay. So that's wonderful.
It's great and people come to the website RanDel.com and they're outside of the state of Michigan, and that's even more flattering when I get messages from people that I may have spoken to in California. I've got clients in Indianapolis that I work with on a regular basis, and being able to touch folks across the United States, that's awesome to me. And for them to go on the line and find the way to reach me via email or posting messages on the website, that says a lot when people take time to do that, and that's always so rewarding and gratifying. So I thank all of them for their kind wishes and support.
Okay. Well, you know, I tell you, we didn't just have you here because of the award. That's one wonderful thing, but we know that, hey, our viewers are asking, where is he? You know, I mean, really, people like yourselves need to come around a little more often. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We will, absolutely.
So, so we can keep up on what's going on in the here and now. And definitely with the organizations, and things are switching over so fast these days that more or less now, you are in lineup for anything in particular this fall? I mean, the school systems, are you geared up to see a lot of students this year? Or
Absolutely.
employers?
I'm looking forward. There's going to be a banquet that comes up in October, I believe it is, through the New Horizons Rehabilitation Organization. I'm going to be doing their keynote for their annual banquet. I'm going to the Michigan Rehab Conference in the fall. So there's a lot of things that are coming up. But real quick, I just wanted to say, you talk about me. I want to take this opportunity to thank you, not only for having me back, but I know you've been on the air for 9 years, and there's only one Just Ask. And I'm being really sincere, because you do a great job, and I love your crew. They're a lot of fun. I like watching work. It was hot under these lights, but I tell you what, really, for this vehicle to be here for people with disabilities and senior citizens to have support, information, and resources made available, it's awesome. And as long as there's a Marsha Florence, I'll be willing to come and sit on this stage with you.
You know, I didn't pay him for that, but he did a good job. Okay. Well, thank you, Randy. Now I'm almost speechless. I'm almost speechless. Okay. And then, you know, I had a tear somewhere in the corner of my eye for sweet things like that. Okay, I'm just blushing all the way to the end.
But it looks good on you. That's all right.
Well, Randy, you know, once again, I do like to thank you and stuff, because actually, like I said, you know, just to have you back and in my presence is a wonderful thing, you know, and you exude so much warmth.
Thank you.
Okay, so that, you know, and I'm sorry I didn't make it to the awards itself, but I knew it was excellent, and I knew who was well deserving of such an award, and it was you. And we have pictures online, so you can contact me. I'll give you the address to get the pictures online. You can see them online from the banquet. Okay, that sounds like a fun thing to me. All right. Okay. Do come back again and join us. My pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you. Once again, thank you. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know, a lot of times guests come on and you learn something every time they come. So if you're learning anything from us, is learning how to be a productive person in the disability community as well as senior citizen services. And you, those who don't have disabilities, are learning about persons with disabilities and senior services. Do take note that you can contact us at the Just Ask hotline, which is 248-988-0250, 248-988-0250, and that's our 24-hour production line. So anytime you call, you wake up in the middle of the night, you call us, it's okay. All right, or check out our website at justastalkshow.org. You can see a video clip of any of our show guests that you want to check out, and Randy will be on there soon. All right. So I'm your host, Marsha Florence, for Just Ask. What do I always say? If you know someone with a disability, or if you just have a general question, don't be afraid to ask. You can ask that too. I'm your host, Marsha Florence. Thank you.